All right, tariffs. If you look at the macro of both United States and China, United States and Europe, United States and Asia, and the macro of how this is all affecting American consumers, the current news cycle has good news and bad news. On the China front, China said today they're open to starting to talk. They made much more conciliatory comments about the prospect of conversations with the United States. And there are reports that I believe are accurate that there have now been confirmed by both sides low-level talks about how to proceed. On the other hand, the U.S. Exemption of tariffs on lower-priced products expired, and so there's more tariffs in place. There's also continue to be reports of people, small business owners and consumers being already affected by the tariffs. Gavin Newsom was on Next Up with me yesterday and said the major ports in LA are really down in terms of the amount of business they expect next week. The Europeans are making nicer noises about talks as well. And then we got the jobs numbers, which obviously provides some relief for the administration in terms of the mood music of is the economy in free fall. And the markets have been doing pretty well for the last all this week. So Dan, where are we as the week ends, do you think, on tariffs being something the administration is under a lot of pressure to resolve, or they can stay the course, go for bilateral deals, ramp up conversations with China, eventually do what Ted Cruz and others have said, use the tariffs as a tool as opposed to something to destroy the American economy?
Yeah, I think everybody would like to find a way out of this, both Europe and China and the United States. I mean, you said it. There are some good signs, and that's great if the jobs market can remain resilient. But at the same time, your companies that have to forecast, that have to plan, you're getting this, tidbits here and there. Companies are pulling their forecasts when they do their investor call, their quarterly earnings. You have companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, Pizza Hut saying they are noticing declines. People who sell kind of stuff on the lower end have noticed that there's less foot traffic coming into stores online. They're having, supply chain issues. But at the same time, as you say, China is saying that now, I think what their commerce minister said, they're open to talks. Now, he claims the U.S. is begging to chat. We're saying they're begging to chat. The answer's probably somewhere in between. So I think the good news, and I think the reason the markets are somewhat stabilized, is there is an expectation that there will be kind of an off ramp between now and, let's say, Labor Day, and maybe even perhaps 4th of July, in which some progress is made, and thus the tariffs are either suspended or outright pulled down to give time for negotiations and for both sides to avoid immense, problems.
If the president is able to start rolling out trade deals with Japan, with India, with the EU, if he starts getting concessions from the EU, for instance, on things like price controls on prescription drugs or agricultural products, if he starts getting concessions from Japan on U.S. cars, that obviously is going to have a very positive effect on the economy and the stock market. And I think really that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a 30, 45, 90-day window where the president has to start rolling out these agreements. Obviously, putting a pause in place was necessary to stabilize the market and avoid any type of sustained free fall. But I think the president's whole point from the very beginning was to use tariffs as a negotiating tool to force these other countries to the table. Sausage making is messy. And obviously, when you're trying to force change, there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be some level of uncertainty that comes along with it. But I think if you get these trade agreements in place and at least start announcing them, coupled with the reconciliation bill, the economy is going to boom. And I think what you will see, I'd say 3 months from now, 6 months from now, is a American economy that is very strong, and people are going to recognize that some of the changes that were made were necessary. And I think that's really what it boils down to. And if China, you look at China, fact is they have gotten away with a lot over the last 3 decades. And both parties have allowed it. They've allowed manufacturing to leave the United States, go to China, because labor costs were cheaper, because production costs were cheaper. But it has been to our detriment. As Warren Buffett pointed out, having a trade deficit is fine, but having a sustained large negative trade deficit is not, because what you're doing is you're turning over US dollars to these foreign countries to then purchase land, purchase companies, purchase debt, and really have a lot of control over our economy. And that's not something we want, certainly not with China. Getting advanced manufacturing back into the United States is critical. The president has already announced over $5 trillion in economic investment. We want more. And that's really what this boils down to. It's a gamble that the president is making, but I think in the long run, it's going to work out in the way that he thinks.
Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.